please stand for the presentation of the colors by the New York State Courts Ceremonial Unit.
Class, present on.
Ready, halt. Ready, face. Present on.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as we invite Lieutenant Paul Quadrino from Kings County Family Court to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ready, face. Forward, march.
Class, order, arms. Ready, cease.
Will everyone please be seated? Next on our program is a musical salute by the New York State Courts Pipes and Drums. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to our graduates, family members, friends, and the court officials here with us to celebrate this very special day. As we begin our graduation ceremony, I will introduce the high-ranking officials seated on our dais, and I would ask them to stand as they are announced. And because you can see it's a very large dais, I'd ask that you hold your applause until I've read all, I think it's 60-something names. And I'll probably make a mistake, so please forgive me in advance. So, representing the judiciary, the chief judge, the chief administrative judge for the state of New York, the Honorable Joseph Zayas. At least I didn't make the mistake. The first deputy chief administrative judge of the state of New York, the Honorable Norman St. George. Deputy Chief Administrative Judge for Justice Initiatives, the Honorable Edwina Richardson Mendelson. Deputy Chief Administrative Judge for the New York City Courts, the Honorable Deborah Kaplan. Administrative Judge for Supreme Court Criminal Term, the Honorable Donna Marie Golia. Administrative Judge for the New York City Criminal Court, the Honorable Tamiko Amaker. Administrative Judge for the New York City Family Court, the Honorable Anne Marie Jolly. Administrative Judge for Bronx Supreme Court Civil Term, the Honorable Doris Gonzalez. Administrative Judge for the New York Supreme Court Criminal Term, New York County, the Honorable Ellen Bybin. Administrative Judge for the Suffolk County Courts, the Honorable Andrew Krecker. Administrative Judge for the 9th Judicial District, the Honorable Ann Minahan. Administrative Judge for the Nassau County Courts, the Honorable Vito DiStefano. Associate Justice for the Appellate Division First Department, the Honorable Peter Moulton. Associate Justice for the Appellate Division First Department, the Honorable Lene Rosado, who also has a graduate in the class, her son. Representing the Office of Court Administration, the Executive Director, Justin Barry, Esquire. The Director of Labor Relations, Carolyn Grimaldi, Esquire. Our new Director of Human Resources, Christy Bass. And from the trial courts, we have the District Executive from the Suffolk County Courts, Warren Clark, Esquire. District Executive for the Nassau County Courts, Paul Lamana, Esquire. We have the Chief Clerk of Richmond County Surrogates Court, Ronald Serraccio. We also have the Chief of Staff for the Deputy Chief Administrative Judge of the New York City Courts, Linda Dunlap Miller, Esquire. Special Counsel for the Deputy Chief Administrative Judge of the New York City Courts, Joan Levinson, Esquire. And we also have the Deputy District Executive for the Suffolk County Courts, Lori Bettetti. Representing the uniformed force of the Unified Court System, Chief of Department, Michael Magliano. Ooh, ooh. Chief Louis Valcarcel. Chief Michael Sinise. Chief David Santiago. Chief Lawrence Daly. Chief Marcus Durham, Chief Kevin Anderson, Major Andrew Wender, Major Frank, Drew, there's some germs here, hope you don't mind. Major Frank Cassiano, Major Terrence Flanagan, Major Ernest Owens, Major John Allen, Major Brian Rice, Major Michael McKee, Major Clement Mack. I don't know if he's here, but Major Robert Steele. Oh, he's here. He didn't say hello. Good. You're on my list. Major Michael Losi. Major Craig Brooks. Major Ostasio Negron. Major Paul Arcadi. Major Denise Zeitler. Captain Vanetta Anderton. Captain Steve Vera. Captain Vincent Sinclair. Captain Anthony Mung. Captain Vanetta Anderton, Captain Barry Gong, Captain Steve Vera, I said it already, huh? I give him double credit. Captain Robert Maglino, Captain Vincent Harris, Captain Jessica Herrera, Captain Tina Perez, Captain Joel Ramos, Captain LaShonda Shaw, Captain John Bonanno, Captain Jennifer Spinelli, Captain Kevin Duckfield, Captain Michelle Barrett, Captain George Kivison, Captain Erica Mikado, and we're also pleased to have special guests, the Deputy Superintendent for the New York State Police, Dominic Sciamento. Thank you all for coming today. See, I told you I'd make a mistake. We have the Dean of the Judicial Institute with us today, the Honorable Kathy Davidson. My apologies, Your Honor. Next in our program, it is my honor to invite the first Deputy Chief Administrative Judge for the New York State Courts, the Honorable Norman St. George, to administer the oath of office. Your Honor.
Good morning. Good morning, Judge. Sounds like they're ready. What a sight. What a day. 250 new court officers. I'm Judge Norman St. George, and I'm privileged to serve as the first Deputy Chief Administrative Judge for the New York State Courts, and I'm thrilled to be part of our court's new amazing leadership team, led by our brilliant Chief Judge Rowan Wilson, our Chief Administrative Judge, the dynamic Judge Joseph Zayas, together with our titan of justice, DCAJ for Justice Initiatives, Judge Edwina Richardson Mendelson, and our incredible DCAJs for inside and outside of New York City. Inside New York City, Judge Deborah Kaplan, and outside New York City, Judge James Murphy, together with all of our administrative judges and our supervising judges. Our courts are in great hands. Let's give them a round of applause, please. We also have an outstanding uniform leadership team, and I want to thank them and give them credit. The person I call the Chief of Chiefs, Chief Magliano, Chief of Public Safety. Commanding Officer of the Academy and Chief of Training, Chief Vassalari. The chiefs for the courts inside New York City and outside New York City, Chief Sinise for inside the city, and Chief Joseph for outside the city. And I want to also acknowledge and thank Chief Metzdorf and Chief Val Cassell for all they do for the courts. And that's together with all of the district chiefs, the majors, captains, lieutenants, and sergeants. Together, we will make the New York State courts the very best that they can be. I want to thank our entire Academy staff and instructors for the phenomenal work that they do. The training that they provide is second to none. Let's give them a round of applause. I am so honored to be here with you today to welcome each of you to the New York State Courts. And it is amazing to see so many new court officers joining our court family from all over this great state of New York, from diverse backgrounds and diverse life experiences. We congratulate you on your choice to join our courts, and we thank your families for their sacrifices and for being here today, and your friends for being here today. We need you. Your role as court officers is critically important to the functioning of our courts. In fact, we cannot hold court without you. We cannot have court without court officers. We cannot have law without order. I thank you in advance for all that you will do. And I know that each of you will strive to be the very best that you can be. Give yourselves a round of applause. We are proud of you. I will now be administering the oath of office to each of you. An oath is a solemn promise and commitment. And I know that each of you will be faithful to it, protect, and serve. At this time, I will ask the class to rise.
Class, attention!
Please raise your right hand
Ready, hands.
and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Michael Brown,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I shall uphold the Constitution of the United States
that I shall uphold the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I shall perform the functions and duties
and I shall perform the functions and duties
of the office of court officer
of the office of court officer
of the State of New York
of the State of New York
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Class, ready, cease.
Thank you, Judge St. George. I refer to the chief of all chiefs, Michael Magliano, as the big chief. And I'm waiting for him to call me the little chief, but he doesn't go for the bait. But having said that, I humbly request that the chief administrative judge of the state of New York come to the podium and address the assembly. Joseph Zayas.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judge.
You see me standing by my first deputy chief administrative judge, who's 6'3", and I feel the same way. I don't call him my big chief, but I always feel that way. So there's sometimes where we're walking together, and I was like, don't walk near me, man. Go move over there. I'll walk behind you or something. But good morning. On behalf of our great Chief Judge Rowan Wilson, and myself, congratulations. We are so proud of you. It's an honor for me to address the largest class ever in the history of the unified court system. I don't know what it is, but as I get older, and I don't expect to tear up in different situations, I find myself tearing up. And as the officers were coming down the stairs, and the families are there, and just unlike Justice Rosado, who has a son in the audience and graduating today, I don't have a son or a daughter graduating, but still, it was so moving for me to see the procession. I didn't expect to tear up because I'm a tough guy, but I had to wipe a few tears there. I definitely want to thank my friend Chief Vassalari and Chief Magliano for their leadership in putting this together. I know it's an extraordinary process to get this going, and this place, the venue is beautiful, and I'm so grateful that I have a chance to address you. Also thankful for all of the instructors, including Captain Sinclair, who, although he's a big shot now, he started out in Queens. I knew him when he was just a court officer and love him, but great to see him advancing as well. But you are all graduates of the Academy now, but you may recall that when you were in the Academy, you made the front page, and probably your family members don't know the significance of this, but you made the front page of the New York Law Journal above the fold. And, judges, lawyers, other legal professionals yearn throughout their careers to get on the front page of the New York Law Journal. And you folks were there. I don't know which officers, but a bunch of you officers were there. There was a wonderful article, and I was so excited to see that. And you made that feature because there was a story about the fact that the unified court system was having the biggest class of recruits ever. That was very, very exciting. In that article, Chief Vassalari shared some things about the Academy and what he was trying to, and his team was trying to instill in you. And he said that most important, we instill a commitment to service and community, dedicated to treating all who enter our courts with dignity and respect. And I read that and I thought, the chief hit the nail on the head with that remark. You, as court officers, are likely going to be the first person a court user sees or has contact with in our courthouses. You will effectively become the public face of our courthouses. And it is incredibly important that court users feel welcomed and treated with respect by you. Generally, people who come into our courthouses are there because of some traumatic things that are going on in their lives. Sometimes they're coming there for a real happy event. Maybe they're adopting a child, right? But for the most part, it's serious issues going on in their life. They are probably having one of the worst days of their life appearing in our courts. And I recognize that you are not social workers. And I've had to tell this to the judges in the courthouses. But your simple kindness and your simple friendliness and your simple respect can go a long way to establishing the public's trust in our justice system that we so desperately need. Some of you might recall, maybe you don't remember, but sort of in an impromptu way, the chief judge and I decided we were going to pay the officers a visit in the academy, and I heard that that was the first time in the history of our court system that happened, that the chief judge and the chief administrative judge decided basically just to come and encourage the officers. And I was happy to hear that. We weren't trying to make history in doing that, but I was happy to hear that was done, that we were able to do that. And all we really wanted to do was to say thank you for your interest in being a court officer. And today, I thank you again and now congratulate you. I have to tell you that I have always built great friendships with the court officers when I was a trial judge, and even now, whenever I worked in the courthouses. There is now, I'm not sure you're aware, but there's a judge now whose name is Letitia Ramirez. And when I first started as a law clerk in 1998, she was a court officer. Before I knew it, she got into law school, graduated from law school, served as a law clerk to one of the judges, and became a judge herself. And she's still a judge herself. And so that's the types of things that make me think about the potential that court officers can have. In fact, I know there's a lot of judges in this room, but I will tell you, frankly, that I would much rather hang out with court officers than judges. And I'll tell you one other thing. I'm very proud of the fact that, you know, when you're in a social situation, a party or something, or wherever, you meet some new people and they say, so what do you do? And so that is asked of me often. And, you know, I'm the chief administrative judge of the whole state. I don't want to tell them that. So I generally say, oh, I work in a courthouse, which is true. I do work in a courthouse. And, you know, people are nosy. So the next question is, well, what are you, a court officer? You know, little do they know that I'm the chief administrative judge of the whole court system, or when they did it before, I was an administrative judge or a judge. But you know what my answer is? Like, yeah, that's exactly what I am. I am one of you guys, at least fictionally, and I did not even have to pass the academy to become one. So, but I didn't pass the academy to become one, but I think you folks have heard that me and the chief judge are doing this competition where we're going to take the physical ability test, and we actually have set a date for this of October 10th. So I was mistaken. I actually thought that when I took and passed the physical ability test, that I would have, like, that meant that I could pass the academy. And then some Chief Bassolati had to pull me and say, well, no, that just gets you in the academy, Judge. But my goal is, because I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass the PAT test. Because I could already do 30 push-ups. I could do them right now. I could do 30 push-ups in a minute, and I could do 30 sit-ups in a minute, et cetera, et cetera. But my goal is not to just pass the physical ability test, but to score higher than our great chief judge, who's in really good shape, but a year older than me. So, I'm also proud of the fact that throughout my career, especially when I was a trial court judge, that I married 3 court officers. Wait, that doesn't... That came out all wrong. That came out all wrong. Because that would be a crime. I've been married 40 years to my high school sweetheart, and there is a thing called polygamy, so I did not. I withdraw and strike from the record my prior comment. I swear, I did not marry 3 court officers. I married my beautiful wife, Catherine Zayas, but what I did do, and let me say, I'm proud, let me say this all over again. I'm proud of the fact that I was asked and did officiate. I officiated at the weddings of 2 sergeants and 1 officer. And just to clarify, this was not a threesome type wedding, it was 3 separate weddings. Of course, right? Some of you know Sergeant Paul Puma. He was the sergeant in my courtroom every day. I love the guy. We lived near each other. When his car needed fixing, was in the shop, I would drive him to work. When my car had that situation, he would drive me to work. And he became a great friend. Come over for dinner. He would have me over to his house, our wives together. The only thing I don't do with him anymore is play poker, because I realized every time I played poker with him, I would lose and he would win. And I thought, I'm not doing that anymore. But I'm also proud to say that I built a great relationship with my security detail, Sergeant Tom Bailey. Where's Tom? Is Tom here? Tom was an officer in my court, and he's like a brother. And he drives me around, and I'll tell you, most of the time he's driving me around, we're cracking up. We're cracking up about all sorts of stuff and having such a good time. And the other day, he shares with me that I'm in the middle of a trial, and witness gets called to the stand, and I talk to you about being respectful, being polite, and so he says, sir, to this witness, would you like a glass of water? And the witness says, yes, of course. He pours him a glass of water. The witness starts getting cross-examined very aggressively, and he's getting a little antsy, a little upset. And at some point during his testimony, he shakes his glass at Tom, my officer, like, give me some more water. And I said, wait, did you just shake your glass at my court officer who's been treating you with such respect all this time? So those are the funny things that happen in our courtroom. Enough stories about that, but I did want you to know the high regard that I've always held court officers. As my colleague said, our courts cannot operate without you. One of the biggest complaints, since I just started this job in May or April, but one of the biggest complaints that we are receiving from judges right now is we desperately need court officers. There's a shortage of court officers. So believe me, when you graduate from the academy, you will be welcomed warmly in the courts to which you are going to be assigned. And I am so very happy to see a lot of the administrative judges here from so many of the jurisdictions where they think you might be going. They're all hoping that they will receive their fair share of the graduates. They're here much like the NFL team owners are at the draft to make sure that they get their fair share. The thing I'm surprised about is that Chief Magliano hasn't told them yet that the overwhelming number of graduates are getting assigned to my home county, Queens County, where I have my chambers. Right, A.J. Golia? No, I'm just kidding. Right, Major Kaplan? Major Flanagan? No, just kidding. Let me tell you, I am extremely grateful for the safety and the security that you will provide. Grateful that we will all be the beneficiaries of that safety. Thank you for choosing a profession in which you will keep others safe at great personal sacrifice to yourself. I also want to thank the families for their own sacrifice while their loved ones were working hard in the academy. I saw one of our graduates' mother, Judge Yanette Rosado from the Appellate Division, the other day, someone who I've known for 2 decades. And I was with my wife, and I was telling my wife, Kathy, that her son's graduating from the academy next week. And I tell you, she was beaming with pride at the graduation of her son, NYS Armando Rosado. And yeah. And she basically demanded that I need to take a photo with you. So wherever you are, make sure we take a photo today. But I really do understand why Judge Rosado feels such pride. I get it. You know, working in the courts is really the best job ever. Just think about like what we watch on TV, all the movies, all the series, all the novels, the news, print, online, and TV. They are all about what we do in our courtrooms every day. Justice will get dispensed before your very eyes. I went to see Hamilton the other day, a few weeks ago, and there's a line in Hamilton where he says, "We were in the room where it all happened." And they were talking about, you know, the writing of the Constitution and a lot of other things. But like, I could just give you a few examples. I handled the Cardi B case. I handled all sorts of high-profile cases every day in my courtroom. Cases that were reported in the news. Most lawyers, might be surprised to know, never actually set foot in a courtroom. They're in some corporate law firm somewhere. But you will do that every day. And that's exciting from my point of view. So thank you for giving me a moment to address you. I'm looking forward to working with you and seeing you in the courthouses throughout the state. Okay, congratulations.
This is the quietest group I've ever seen. We have like over 2,000 people in here. Wake up! All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to announce that 250 court officer trainees have completed the first phase of their basic training, and as of today, are certified peace officers of the state of New York. Today, you have earned the right to be called officer. That feels great. And to this day, when somebody calls me officer, the hair on, it doesn't on my head, I don't have any, but the hair on the back of my neck stands up. All right? To be called an officer, but understand the tremendous responsibility that goes along with that term. Having said that, we applaud your efforts, and we celebrate this milestone by presenting you with a certificate attesting to your achievement. I now call upon Captain Vanetta Anderton, who will read out the names. Captain?
Good morning. Good morning, family and friends. You guys are pretty dead. Quiet. Okay. Court Officer Jimmy Chu. Court Officer Adam Rivera. Court Officer Benjamin Knight. Court Officer J.E. Cheng. Court Officer Mark Valenti. Court Officer Daniel Adrat. Court Officer Jared Torres. Court Officer James Fell. All right. This next court officer told me that his Dominican grandparents will be in the audience and that I need to get his name right. Okay? Court Officer Leonardo Liriano. Court Officer Caitlin Delala. Court Officer Cheyenne Coleman. Court Officer Catherine Shetter. Court Officer Fernando Rodriguez. Court Officer Sean Fay. Court Officer Joseph Hughes. Court Officer Autumn Bichelli. Court Officer Mark Del Bianco. Court Officer Edmund Scalia Jr. Court Officer Aaron Potter. Court Officer Tyler Falcone. Court Officer Julissa Cortez. There we go. There we go. Court Officer Blake Kozlowski. Court Officer Joseph DeTizio. Court Officer Ronald Sisinski. Court Officer Lauren Hoekstra. Court Officer Sophia Amendola. Court Officer Timothy Condon. Court Officer Pedro Nunez. Court Officer Nicholas Alfano. Court Officer Michael Vidral. Court Officer Michael Minitalia. Court Officer Dylan Rabito. Court Officer Matthew Murphy. Court Officer Raymond Famoso. Court Officer Adam Benincasa. Court Officer Matthew Palmer. Court Officer Zachary Milton. Court Officer Julian Valendia. Court Officer Raul Guardado. Did I get it right? Okay. Court Officer Thomas Lacagnata. Court Officer Vincent Biancardi. Court Officer Justin Rivera. Court Officer Thomas Wadzinski. Court Officer Eric Miller. Court Officer John Medica. Court Officer Jonathan Leone. Court Officer Ryan Reitz. Court Officer Michael Pecora. Court Officer Adam Lamdani. Court Officer Andrew Justino. Court Officer Lawrence Russell. Court Officer Kieran Daly. Court Officer Brian DeRosa. Court Officer Javon Fedone. All right, this next court officer consistently, out of every assessment run we had for a mile and a half, ran it faster than all the court officers. Laura Cummings. Court Officer Nicholas Konsadich. Court Officer Ryan 100 Fitzgerald. Court Officer Scott 70 Labono. Court Officer Heather Knock. Court Officer Brian Catalano. Court Officer Peter Park. Court Officer Marley Jean. Court Officer Robert Maloney. Court Officer Vincent DiMatteo. Court Officer Nicholas Silippo. Court Officer Jesse Ward. Court Officer Amanda Happany. Court Officer Giovanni Signoretti. Court Officer Kristen Bonfanti. Court Officer David Klinka. Court Officer Daniel Flanagan III. Court Officer Matthew Haberlack. Court Officer Noah Menzinger. Court Officer Thomas Byrne. Court Officer Lindsay Gorney. Court Officer Andre Oliveira. Court Officer Matthew Fisher. Court Officer Raquel Rosario. Court Officer Justin Finning. Court Officer Michelle DeLisi. Court Officer Diego Torres Jr. Court Officer Roseanne Saclamenti. Court Officer Jeffrey Coleman. Court Officer Stephen Day. I apologize. Court Officer Stephen Day, sorry. The one day, important day, I messed it up. All right. Court Officer Shannon Glenn. Court Officer Kelvin De Leon. Court Officer Matthew McCower Brown. Court Officer James Moy. Court Officer Alejandro with an X Sanchez. Court Officer Brendan Baker. Court Officer Anthony Ippolito. Court Officer Gayaren Rambali. Court Officer Brandon Peterson. Court Officer Tristan Scarantino. Court Officer Justin Zeno. Court Officer Megan Sullivan. Court Officer Malik Sylvester. Court Officer Ronald Grant. Court Officer Ralph DeVito. Court Officer Arcus Adamus. Court Officer Tatiana Garmendia. Court Officer Vivon Charles. Court Officer Thomas Redmond. Court Officer Michael 100 Samuel. Court Officer Xiao Chin. Court Officer Andre Boyorska. Court Officer Stephen DeLillo. Court Officer Andrew Papanikolaou. Court Officer Marcin Marzak. Court Officer Raymond Rodriguez. Court Officer David Kamich. Court Officer Francis West. Court Officer Dominique Hardy. Court Officer Elias Rosado. Court Officer Ishmael Gatling. Court Officer Stephanie Heiss. Court Officer Alejandro Mandelberger. Court Officer Tanisha with 3 A's Williams. Court Officer Jamil Samuels. Court Officer Samuel Asherov. Court Officer Richard Lundberg. Court Officer Paul Chung. Court Officer Jerome Shaka. Court Officer Alan Escobar. Officer Michael Cluin. Court Officer Jason Guzman. Court Officer Samantha Carousel. Court Officer Mark Hernandez. Court Officer Nicholas Amatuli. Court Officer Sterling De Leon. Court Officer Michael Monaco. Court Officer Michael Valera. Court Officer Matthew Velez. Court Officer Nikisha Ortega. Court Officer Taylor Gallagher. Court Officer Salahuddin Asif. Court Officer James Jennings. Court Officer Michael Carreri. Court Officer Brandon Torres. Court Officer Michael Vinci. Court Officer Stephen Kingston. All right, don't die down. We still have 100 more to go, okay? That was Kingston, right? Yes, okay. All right. Court Officer Brian Carrasquillo. Court Officer Mark Icaza. Court Officer John Ortecho. Court Officer Ruben Lopez. Court Officer Anthony Rowe. Court Officer Amber Martinez. Court Officer Leonard Dutan. Court Officer Ronika Haywood. Court Officer Ernest Acevedo. Court Officer Wanda Sandoval. Court Officer Junaid Chelebiolu. Court Officer Stephen Engelman. Court Officer John Maggio. Court Officer Laquan Liardo. Court Officer Nathaniel Ryan. Court Officer Stephen Amster. Court Officer Melody David. Court Officer Stephen Gerwer. Court Officer Anthony Cassiano. Court Officer Victoria Katza. Court Officer Michael Kelly. Court Officer Kaya Gordon. Court Officer Sean O'Hare. Court Officer Noel Hernandez. Court Officer LaQuinn Lee. Court Officer Laura Hernandez. Court Officer Andrew March. Court Officer Stefan Williams. Court Officer Oscar Rivera. Court Officer Anna Melito. Court Officer David Gonzalez. Court Officer Luke Formasano. Court Officer Brandy Frank. Court Officer John Ressos. Court Officer Matthew Moncure. Court Officer Thomas Gilmore. Court Officer John O'Brien. Court Officer Mark Mingo. Court Officer Tyler Timmons. Court Officer Kyle Cadigan. Court Officer Chris De Guzman. Court Officer Yasmin Gomez. Court Officer Adam Vanderwag. Officer Douglas Kinish. Court Officer Anthony Biscardi. Court Officer Anthony Ferrin. Court Officer Nicholas Ranieri. Court Officer Isaac Cherena. Court Officer Alvin Witter. Court Officer Thomas Cummings. Court Officer Michael Lukashevitz. Court Officer Thomas Morgan. Court Officer Brian Morrissey. Court Officer Nicholas Kingston. Court Officer Bartholomew Shaka. Court Officer Adriel Cervantes. Court Officer Dana Hayes Smith. Court Officer Lamar Flanoy. Court Officer Scott Ventrella. Court Officer Angel Taveras. Court Officer Kevin Golden. Court Officer Brandon Simon. Court Officer Stephen Dahlstrom. Court Officer Justin Chang. Court Officer Anthony Robert. Court Officer John Anderson. Court Officer Daniel Guarino. Court Officer Mark Payton. Court Officer Anthony Leon. Court Officer Stephen Linekin. Court Officer Dylan Sino. Court Officer Milton Harris Jr. Court Officer Christopher Agnello. Court Officer Brian Bogle. Court Officer Valerios Lekis. Court Officer Christopher O. Court Officer Michael Busing. Court Officer Giovanni Kerner. Court Officer Nicholas Yalo. Court Officer Joshua Quagliato. Court Officer Brian Romero. Court Officer Frederick Walker. Court Officer Adrian Piron. Court Officer Philip Catalani. Court Officer Enrique Alvarez. Court Officer Joseph Garrity. Court Officer George. Okay, all right. Court Officer George Amberry. Court Officer Nigel Riley. Court Officer Daniel Chavez. Court Officer Edwin Cortez. Court Officer Giuseppe Diaz. Court Officer Brian Martinez. Court Officer Matthew Loffman. Court Officer Lawrence Ashby. Court Officer Amanda Melian. Court Officer Omar Romero. Court Officer Carlos Salazar. Court Officer Michael Wallace. Court Officer Miguel Gonzalez. I'm not going to say it. Court Officer Andy Alexander. Court Officer Adrian Wrong. Court Officer Ronald Centeno Suarez. Court Officer Brian Agin. Court Officer Facundo Vicencio. Court Officer Lamar Weston. Court Officer Jerry Bradshaw II. Court Officer Joseph Gagliardi. Court Officer Philip Maglione. And last but not least, roster 270, Court Officer Christopher Fioravanti. Congratulations.
Well, the next thing I was going to say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to present to you the class of September 27, 2023. Captain Anderson can take a nap now. I'd like to take a moment to thank our squad leaders, and I'd ask that they stand as I read out their name. I hope I get this right. Court Officer J.K. Chang. Caitlin Delala. Javon Perdome. Laura Cummings. Michelle DeLise. Kelvin DeLeon. Tatiana Garmendia. Nikisha Ortega. Nathaniel Ryan. Adam Vanderwag. Thomas Cummings. Dana Hayes Smith. Nigel Riley. And Amanda Melian. Thank you very much for your assistance. It was most helpful during these past 4 months. Thank you. I also have to take a minute to, you know the old saying, it takes a village? I've said this before, it takes a city to get our graduates where they are today. So I want to take a minute just to thank the many people who work behind the scenes to get our graduates where they are today. People from our court officers, staffing, and security services, our applicant verification unit under the leadership of Major Frank Cassiano, our Division of Human Resources, our Division of Public Safety under Chief of Department Michael Magliano, the pipes and drums, the ceremonial unit, and I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge a very, very special group of men and women who took 250 people from all walks of life and brought them together as a cohesive unit who truly care about each other, and that is the staff of the Court Officers Academy. They work miracles. And in particular, I want to acknowledge the management team that helps coordinate all these activities. Major Andrew Wender, Captains Anthony Mung, Vanetta Anderton, Barry Gong, Steve Esteban Vera, and Vincent Sinclair. Thank you for all you do. And now in our program, I call upon Court Officer Trainee Nigel Riley, the class representative, to address the assembly.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chief Basilari, court dignitaries, honored guests, academy staff, fellow graduates, family, and friends. We welcome you and thank you for attending this special day. It is an honor to stand before you today as I look out in amazement at 250 academy recruits, the largest class in court officer history. On behalf of this graduating class, we would like to thank those who made this historic day possible. Thank you to Chief Basilari for your leadership, your wisdom, and guidance. Each day addressing us, letting us know what it takes to be part of this prestigious family of New York State court officers. Can imagine the sigh of relief you now have that it didn't take an act of Congress to get all 250 of us to this point. Thank you to the Academy staff for everything. It wasn't just what you taught all of us, but how you taught us. The time and care and preparation it took to get 250 recruits to where we are now is unimaginable. Every word uttered, every detail, every command given had a deeper meaning and purpose to our journey. Without your unwavering efforts, we would not be here today, so again, we thank you. And to all of you in the stands, family, friends, loved ones, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You stood by us through this life-changing experience, supporting us every step of the way. This day is not only about the commencement of a new day for us, but a celebration and recognition of you, because family and friends are what make us and who we are today. And without you, we would never be complete. From the author Letty Cotton Pogobin, if the family were a boat, it would be a canoe, in which it makes no progress unless everyone paddles. On June 5th, 2023, we embarked on a journey with a new family and would eventually learn quickly what it meant to be in that boat. I can remember that first day like it was yesterday. A bunch of individuals dressed in business attire, minds racing about the career we now have chosen, second guessing if we should even be here, stomach in knots, not knowing what to expect, bags in hand filled with the required equipment that got heavier with every second we waited for those doors to open. The doors finally opened, and the Academy staff welcomed us with bright smiles, handshakes, and hugs. Maybe the panic and adrenaline from that day has my memory a little fogged. From that day forward, we learned that that there was only one speed, and that was hustle. We learned that we needed to move as one and leave our egos at the door. We could no longer be individuals, and we needed to realize that we are not part of something bigger than ourselves. We definitely challenged that thought process, and we quickly found out the consequences of thinking we could get through 16 weeks on our own, because soon to follow was the struggle. Information-packed lectures with testable material, hearing the words, push-up position, move. 30 minutes till 1 hour roll calls, 1.5 mile runs, keeping your head on a swivel, making sure to address any instructor in sight, changing in 10 minutes drenched in sweat, the stacking and unstacking of chairs, the commute each day trying to be early as possible because early is on time and on time is late. We are a class ranging from the ages of 21 to 55. We come from as far north as Pine Bush, New York, to all the way out east in Mastic on Long Island. We came from different previous occupations and different life experiences. We came together under two commonalities. We wanted to be court officers, and we now had a common struggle. The best quarterback in the NFC East, Jalen Hurts, sorry to you Giants fans, said earlier this year, the beautiful part is we experience different agony in life. and we decide how we want to move forward, how we want to learn. The only direction is to rise. Luckily for us, some recruits stacked up enough 1001s for us to physically climb and rise over any obstacle thrown our way. Metaphorically, though, through the struggle we now face, we chose to rise together, shifting our perspective to we is greater than me. Together we formed study groups, made flashcards, retaught material as if we were instructors ourselves to help each other prepare for each test. Our fellow recruits who excelled in PT would lead group sessions of push-ups and sit-ups during breaks to help those come to the physical standards. We coordinated group runs during mealtime to shave off minutes on our mile and a half runs. We fought our way out of remedial PT and got in the best shape of our lives. We squared each other away, looking like your local cleaners with your irons, steamers, lint rollers being shared to keep every uniform we put on looking in tip-top shape. We formulated systems to help clean up quickly and efficiently. We had each other's back no matter what. If you forgot something, we had another one handy. Through these struggles and triumph, we became a family, brother and sister recruits. In true family fashion, we celebrated birthdays, we went to baby showers, celebrated life with newborns, grieved and provided comfort at funerals. We barbecued, we laughed, we cried, we argued, we compromised. We showed that we are stronger than the PT, that we will no longer be complacent. We chose empathy and compassion for one another in all walks of life. We finally had an answer for the question. Do you want to be a court officer? This time, instead of just a yes, sir, we showed it by our actions each and every day. Whether we want to admit it or not, we will miss this experience. These 4 months, we will forever safeguard and secure in our memories. In honor of the 16 weeks of Academy training, we came up with a list of 16 things we will miss most about the Academy in no particular order. Number 16, OC spray training. Wish you all could see how fun it was. 15, receiving a gift during PT. 14, hearing the word cognizant 100 times a day. 13, being lucky enough to be chosen for defensive tactics demonstrations. 12, squad leaders. Maybe I added that one myself. 11, getting magnetometer experience by checking our bags for electronic devices. 10, only being able to go down one staircase. 9, our situational awareness being tested in the staircase. Why are you walking? 8, the sound of equipment dropping and immediately hearing, if you owe, you know. 7, for us guys, shaving every morning. 3, questions before meal and dismissal. 2, we will miss each other. We spent more time with each other over the past 16 weeks than we have our families at home. We created a bond that will last a lifetime. From complete strangers to the best of friends who will be there for each other no matter what. And 1, the Academy staff. We said thank you in the beginning, but no words can amount to the appreciation that we have for you all. This is a life-changing experience, and you helped guide and lead us to this very point. Through tough love, care, compassion, and passion for what you do, you made us not only better officers, but better people. You all are a true testament of professionalism. We coined your favorite sayings. We walked into the building trying to think how you would think in hopes we would prepare us for the day. Best role models and leaders a recruit could ask for. I leave you with this. To my fellow graduates, here's our bill. 16 weeks, learning criminal law, civil law, arrest procedures, baton, pepper spray and firearms training, defensive tactics, plenty of physical training, first aid, CPR, tactical communications, domestic violence awareness, mandatory reporting obligations, and verbal judo. This is our bill. This bill is paid. But we must not forget that we are forever in debt to our communities, in debt to the communities we now swear to serve and protect, in debt to our loved ones here with us, whose everlasting love and support got us here in the first place, in debt to the men and women who once and now put on the uniform every day, to those who are gone but never forgotten, in debt to those that will one day put the uniform on in the future, because we are the future. Everything we do, the decisions we make, will impact the narrative of what it means to be an officer. The character we have shown, the hard work and dedication that we have put in lets us all know that we will be making those community deposits and changing the narrative. Because we can, we will, we must live up to the standards and requirements of a New York State court officer, and we'll do it as one. Class, how will we do it? As one! From the court officer class of September 27, 2023, thank you.
What a great job. You chose a very, very good person to represent all of you, and we thank you for that. Now it gives me great pleasure to invite the Deputy Chief Administrative Judge for the New York City Courts, the Honorable Deborah Kaplan, to make the next presentation.
Now, good afternoon. It's not my first time addressing this outstanding class. I go, since I've been Deputy Chief Administrative Judge, every time we have a class, because I want to have the pleasure and joy of meeting and greeting you and welcoming you to the New York State Unified Court System family. And I was there when you began this exceedingly challenging and I hope rewarding journey. And I am so delighted to be here with you and to see all of you and your families and friends at this most auspicious event, your graduation day. And I want to thank Chief Michael Magliano and Chief Joseph Basilari for giving me the great honor of bestowing the Academic Achievement Award on a most worthy recipient. I'm also going to tell you, for the first time in my life, although I thought there should have been other opportunities, I would like to thank the members of the Academy as well. So before I continue my remarks, I would like to ask Officer Douglas Kennish to come stand beside me. By your decision, to become a court officer, you have demonstrated your commitment to serving the public at large, our court system, and those who come to us seeking justice and resolution that only the courts can provide. And your commitment is further amplified by the fact that you have worked hard enough to receive the Academic Achievement Award, which I know is no easy feat, and this is a very competitive class. So, if you know me, and most of you who are coming to New York City will get to know me a lot better, sometimes I like to take the words of others that I think are meaningful and share them. And as someone who has lived with a lifelong Jet fan, my husband of 38 years, I am not quoting Robert Saleh. But I am going to give you Vince Lombardi. And he is, who unfortunately is no available to be the coach of the Jets. Coach Lombardi said, "Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence." And I understand that Officer Kennish's GPA is pretty darn close to perfection, but unquestionably, you have certainly caught excellence. So congratulations on this very significant and well-deserved award.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next presentation will be made by Major Andrew Wender. Major.
Each component of recruit training is challenging in its own right, but perhaps none more so than their initial firearms training. It entails weeks of classroom training on statutes and agency policy, hands-on training in the classroom, situation and judgment training on a firearms training simulator, discussions on the moral and emotional aspect of using a firearm, and last but certainly not least, all of it coming together at the shooting range, indoor and outdoor, on some of the hottest and wettest days of the year. So it is my honor and privilege to present the Firearms Proficiency Award for the class of September 27, 2023, to the recruit who best demonstrated those skills and shot a combined score of 500 out of 500 on the qualification courses of fire. Recruit Heather Knock.
This next very special award will be presented by a very special person, and I mean that in a very good way. My dearest of friends, Chief of Department, Michael Magliano.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon, Chief.
In case you're wondering where you may possibly be assigned, I've been asked by many of the important administrative judges and commanding officers that we're desperate for court officers. How many are we getting? And I'm telling each and every one of them here today that Judge Zayas is assured that you're all going to their respective court. Captain William Harry Thompson was not only a strong leader and role model, he was one of the most compassionate human beings we have ever had the privilege of knowing. He's fondly remembered for always having kind words and a wonderful laugh, which always seemed to come at the most appropriate time. If a member of the staff was feeling down, Harry would always take the time to cheer them up and remind them to enjoy the journey. One phase of your journey is ending today, and another phase begins. Take the moment to enjoy your journey. Trust me, it passes quickly. The Court Officer training selected for the William Harry Thompson Leadership Award exhibits these same qualities. The recipient is highly regarded by the Academy staff as well as her classmates. She's enthusiastic, intelligent, dedicated, hardworking, and displayed strong leadership qualities throughout her time at the Academy. Whether offering guidance, lending a helping hand, or leading by example, she supported her classmates and consistently put forward her very best. Court Officer Nikisha Ortega Court Officer Nikisha Ortega was born in Florida. She is from a large service-oriented family and especially close with her twin brother. Before becoming a New York State Court Officer, she was an operating room technician at New York Presbyterian Hospital. Working in the medical field allowed her to help others, which has always been important to her. She was initially drawn to becoming a court officer because she wants to make a difference in the community. She aspires to grow within the court system because it's important for her to show her two sons to never give up on their dreams. Court Officer Trainee Ortega enjoys reading, drawing, dancing, music, scrapbooking in her free time. Do you have any free time? During her training, her energy skills, attentiveness, and passion were evident to the Academy staff. When asked what qualities an officer should have, she listed attributes such as leadership, empathy, a positive attitude, critical thinking, and should have great people skills. It is with great pleasure I present the Captain William Harry Thompson Leadership Award to Court Officer Nikisha Ortega.
Congratulations. Well deserved. Before I go any further, I want to make I just want to acknowledge that this is another first in this class. We have 2 sets of siblings. Sisters Adrienne Garan and Tanashia Williams. I'm sorry, I probably messed up your names. And brothers Stephen and Nicholas Kingston. We got a set of cousins, too. Bartholomew and Jerome Sayaka. I'm doing this almost 41 years, and this is a first, so congrats. This is where the part of the program where I usually give some of my personal notes, and I can't say much more than that's been said already, and that you surely haven't heard me say already. But never forget your humanity, never forget your compassion, be true to yourself, serve the people well, and understand that you can make a difference in the lives of those people you serve, and that the law means something, and that the law is there to serve you. And as officers, okay, you represent the law. And that responsibility doesn't end at the courthouse steps at 5 o'clock in the evening. You're court officers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Never forget that. And the pride you feel today, remember that when you go to work some days and you're not feeling well, or something tough or difficult may be going on in your life. It's never an excuse to not be the professional that you are. Now, yesterday I was fortunate and I was very humbled to receive an email from the Chief Judge of the State of New York. Imagine me, Joe Basileri, getting an email from the Chief Judge of the State of New York. And I read it, and it just resonated with me. And I asked the Chief Judge if I had his permission to read it at today's graduation ceremony. And to my surprise, he said yes. I actually shouldn't say to my surprise, because it's very profound what he said. So, this is from Chief Rowan Williams. Dear Chief Basileri, if you have the chance, please convey my congratulations to the graduating class of court officers. I regret that I cannot be there because I am in Rochester, but I would like them to know, on behalf of the unified court system, that we are immensely proud of their successful completion of the academy and look forward to working with them to make our court system welcoming, fair, and safe for all those who rely on it. We deeply appreciate that our court officers in many ways have the most challenging jobs in the court system. They are often the first to interact with the great variety of people who come through our doors, including some who are hurt, some who are dangerous, some who are greatly stressed, and some who are frightened. Deftly responding to the challenges posed by the wildly different people who come to the courts requires judgment, patience, awareness, kindness, and firmness all at once. I would like them to know that, like you and Chief Magliano and the rest of the command, we are always available to them to hear their suggestions and help with any issues that might arise. We all have the same goal, which is to work in a court system of which we can all be proud because it provides the finest justice possible. Warmly, Rowan Wilson. And all I can say to that, Your Honor, if you ever see the video of this, is amen. Thank you. And now, to close out the ceremony, I would like to invite Court Officer Jaleesa Copeland from New York County Supreme Court Criminal Term to come to the podium to sing God Bless America. Jaleesa.
God bless America, land that above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, Jaleesa. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. Thank you all for being here today. God bless you all. God bless America. Our graduates will be released shortly, and they'll meet you outside the facility. Thank you again for being here, and thank you for all my colleagues on the dais. Thank you.